Yesterday, she was the most beautiful girl in the village. Today, the village whispers her name in tears. This is the story of Emma, the girl who dreamed of gold and found a grave. The village of Umwaka woke up every morning to the smell of firewood and fresh palm oil. The sun crept gently over the hills, casting golden light on clay huts and waving banana leaves. You could hear the roosters cry, the laughter of children, and the rhythmic pounding of yam from distant courtyards. Among them lived Mama, the girl everyone in Umwaka talked about. She wasn't just beautiful, she was unforgettable. Her smooth brown skin glowed like polished bronze, and her laughter floated through the air like music. Every man in Umwaka wanted her. Some brought yams and wrappers. Others offered to fetch water from the stream just to hear her soft voice say, "Thank you." When she walked down the dusty path, even the wind slowed down to watch. Emma lived with her parents and four younger siblings, two girls and two boys. Her mother sold vegetables at the market and her father worked the farms. In the evenings, Emma helped her mother wash vegetables and count coins by lantern light. Her dreams stretched far beyond the farms and palm trees. She wanted city lights, big houses, fine clothes. Her best friend was Ugo, a gentle, humble girl who found happiness in small things. Ugo loved the village, the scent of rain soaked soil, and the laughter of children. She would say, "Ma, what else do we need? We eat, we dance, we live in peace." But Oma only smiled and shook her head. "You're short sighted, Ugo," she'd reply. "There's more to life than this village." "I want to see the world," Ugo would laugh softly, not arguing, only praying her friend would never lose herself in that world she dreamed of. It was a quiet afternoon in Umwaka. The sun hung lazily over the sky, and a soft wind carried the smell of roasted maize and wet earth. Emma sat under the mango tree, weaving her mother's basket while humming to herself. That was when the stranger arrived. She was tall, elegant, and different. Her perfume floated through the air before her voice even reached. "You must be Emma," the woman said, smiling like she already knew her. Her name was Madame Rose, a woman who claimed to live in the city, in a house so tall it could touch the clouds. She told stories of electric lights, cars that shone like mirrors, and shops filled with golden clothes. Amy listened with wide eyes, her heart racing. Each word painted the city like heaven. "You're too beautiful to stay here," Madame Rose said softly. "In the city, girls like you make money, real money. You wear gold, live in a fine house, and never touch farm work again." Her words wrapped around Amama like silk. She imagined herself walking in high heels, holding shiny bags, her laughter echoing in city lights. But Ugo, who had been listening nearby, frowned. Her spirit felt uneasy. "City life is not for everyone," Ugo whispered later. "Mama, that woman's smile hides something. I can feel it." Mama laughed. "You think everyone is bad, Ugo. That's why you'll never leave this village." That night, Oma couldn't sleep. She lay awake, listening to the crickets and dreaming of city lights dancing in her eyes. The wind outside carried the faint sound of drums, but in her heart it sounded like a call. By morning, her mind was made up. The flower of Umuaka was ready to chase the sun, not knowing the fire waiting on the other side. Dawn broke over Umuaka, quiet and golden. But inside one small hut, hearts were heavy. Emma packed a few clothes into a small bag. Her mother cried softly, holding her hands. "Remember who you are?" she whispered. Emma smiled through her tears. I'll come back rich, Mama. I promise. Ugo stood by the road, clutching her own small bag. She didn't want to go, but she couldn't let Emma travel alone. If trouble comes, she said, I'll be there to hold your hand. Emma laughed and squeezed her arm. You worry too much, Ugo. We'll be fine. Then Madame Rose's car appeared, the first car many villagers had ever seen up close. Its shiny body reflected the rising sun like a mirror. As the car rolled away, the dust rose behind it, covering the village road like a fading memory. The road to the city was long and rough. They passed forests, rivers, and towns filled with noise. Amama pressed her face against the window, watching the world change. She could smell smoke, fuel, and roasted corn from roadside sellers. A taste of the new life she believed waited ahead. But when they reached the city, the air felt heavy, thick with exhaust and secrets. Tall buildings rose like silent giants, and people rushed past without a smile. For the first time, Emma's heart trembled. Madame Rose took them to a tall building with locked gates and dim hallways. Inside were other girls, all dressed up, painted faces, tired eyes. Ugo's heart sank. This, this isn't what you promised, she whispered. But Madame Rose's smile vanished. It's too late to turn back now. That night, Oma sat on the edge of a strange bed, staring at the city lights outside the window. They no longer looked like stars, they looked like fire. And in that moment, she realized the world she dreamed of was not what it seemed. Ugo prayed quietly in the dark for strength, for wisdom, for a way out. But Oma's heart was already caught in the city's web. Days turned into weeks. The house was always loud, music, laughter, and perfume thick in the air. MMA learned quickly. She smiled when she had to, laughed when she didn't want to, and danced even when her feet ached. The men who once adored her in the village were nothing like the ones in the city. Here, their smiles hid hunger, and their hands held money, not love. Ugo could barely stand it. Each night, her chest tightened as laughter echoed through the rooms. She missed the sound of crickets, the smell of roasted yam, and her mother's soft singing back home. One morning, she woke up before sunrise, packed her bag, and whispered, Ma, I can't do this anymore. Mama looked at her with disbelief. You'll throw away all this money, the clothes, the chance to be someone. Ugo smiled sadly. Peace is better than gold that burns your soul. And with that, Ugo left, stepping into the unknown with nothing but hope. After days of wandering, Ugo found work with a kind family, washing dishes, sweeping floors, and caring for the little children. She earned little, but she slept peacefully each night. The children loved her, calling her Auntie Ugo. And sometimes, when the wind blew softly through the window, she would close her eyes and whisper a prayer for her friend. But for Emma, things were different. She was no longer the shy village girl. She wore diamonds, designer dresses, and walked with confidence. Men called her the city rose. Madame Rose admired her, but behind that admiration hid control. The more money Mama made, the more she owed. Her laughter was loud, but her eyes were tired. Every night she told herself, just one more job and I'll stop. But that one more never ended. As months passed, the distance between Emama and Ugo grew like a river. One had found peace in simplicity. The other, trapped in gold and glitter, was slowly losing herself. The city had given Emama everything she wanted and quietly taken everything she needed. And that was how two friends began their journeys, one chasing peace, the other chasing power. but the city wasn't done with them yet. The months turned into years. Emima was now one of Madame Rose's favorites. Her pictures flooded social media, her name whispered in rich men's conversations. She owned handbags that cost more than her father's farmland and perfumes that filled a room before she even entered it. But something changed. The laughter didn't feel the same anymore. Every time she looked in the mirror, her eyes told a story her lips could not, a tale of loneliness and something darker growing inside her. One night, a powerful chief arrived. His bodyguards filled the hallway, his cologne mixed with the scent of expensive cigars. Madame Rose herself greeted him with bows and false smiles. Emma was chosen to entertain him, the honor every girl pretended to want but secretly feared. The chief was generous, money, gifts, promises of a house in big cities. Emma thought her life had changed forever, but within her body, something else had changed, something she could not see. Weeks later, Alma fell ill. At first, it was small tiredness, fever, and cough. She blamed it on stress, or maybe the city air. But the nights grew colder and her body weaker. Her perfume could no longer hide the scent of sickness. Even Madame Rose began to keep her distance. When the doctor finally came, he didn't meet her eyes. He dropped the test results on the table and said softly, "You need to take care of yourself. You're positive." The paper in her hands shook. The world around her spun. Lights, voices, laughter fading into silence. "A don't be for me," Mama shouted in confusion. Mama sat for hours staring at nothing. She remembered Ugo's face, the dusty road to the city, the laughter they once shared. Tears filled her eyes, mixing with makeup that no longer mattered. That night she cried until morning, a cry that only the walls heard. But the ugly part was yet to come. Before she even knew, she had passed it on to others, and eventually to her family back home when she made a quick visit to spend time with her family. Her mother, who had once kissed her cheeks in pride, her little brother, who used her razor one morning. The sickness had traveled faster than her regret. The village that once sang Emma's praises now spoke her name in whispers. The same beauty that had opened every door had led her straight into darkness, and when death finally came, it wasn't sudden. It was slow, quiet, and merciless. The chief lived. Madame Rose moved on, but Emma's story became a warning. They said, "Emma died yesterday," but the truth is, she began dying the day she left the village. Ugo knelt beside Emma's small grave, her fingers tracing the wooden cross. "You were like a sister to me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You just wanted more, but the world didn't tell you the price." "HIV is real," she said. "It hides behind beauty, money, and promises. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor. Protect yourselves, ask questions, get tested. Love should never cost your life." If Emama had known the truth, would she have chosen differently? What do you think? Tell us in the comments below, because somewhere another MMA is still choosing.